The discovery of the rogue planet. The scout ship Fraga approached and began landing procedures on a rogue planet, far into the depths of space. While rogue planets weren't uncommon across the galaxy, this one was particularly intriguing. It was an unremarkable planet in many ways, average in size and seemingly capable of supporting life. The faint remnants of a magnetic field suggested it once had a strong shield, protecting life from its harsh sun. Strangely, a fine dust coated the planet rather than the typical still and frozen landscape. What made this planet truly stand out was the thick and slowly pulsing red grid orbiting and encompassing it entirely. Unbeknownst to the crew of the Fraga, they had discovered a tomb world. This was a memorial and a warning, set loose across the stars for others to find. Scans of the planet revealed that the entire surface was covered in the fine dust, sometimes kilometers thick. The only exception was a medium-sized complex situated at the magnetic pole. This complex had been spared from whatever catastrophe had befallen the rest of the planet. Anything within this 5-kilometer zone was perfectly preserved, while anything that intersected with the border was split cleanly, one half joining the dust, the rest not. From orbit, the complex appeared utterly devoid of life, with no electromagnetic emissions or thermal signatures indicating any activity. However, as the landing craft approached the facility, they picked up a weak signal, barely peeking over the background radiation. The signal itself was nothing special, lacking the characteristics of a distress signal or any signs of quantum repeating, subspace, or hyperspace distortions. One crew member, feeling a deep unease, scoured the sensor readouts and found the signal similar to pulsar emissions. It was simply a repeating set of pulses cast into the darkness. Carefully exploring the complex, the crew found that while the outside looked like any other military headquarters or capitol building, the interior had been drastically altered. The walls and floors were ripped and forced, leading only to the heart of the complex. There they found a small living space, fit to house a single being, but not for very long, as indicated by the desiccated remains of an unknown species still seated at a console long after it had expired. To their surprise, the console powered on when a brave crew member touched the screen, making the exploratory team glad for the plumbing in their suits. The display was alien and unfamiliar, despite its apparent age. After some trial and error, they figured out how to operate it, discovering only a series of video logs and the ability to upload to a separate storage medium. Eager to leave, they copied the contents of the console and returned to their ship, relieved that no defenses blocked their egress and no batteries blew them out of the thin atmosphere. Aboard the Fraga, the crew uploaded their findings to the ship's systems to view them in relative comfort. Unintentionally aided by some software included in the download, their translator installed the translation for the logs without the crew noticing. Opening the first and oldest file, they were greeted by the image of the deceased alien, very much alive, but not looking much better than when they found it. "I am the planet leader, Urat, last in line to the Risi for my species, Urad Ranish," began the alien in the recording. "But to be more accurate, I am the last of the Urad Ranish alive. I was the leader of my species, and I drove us to the brink of extinction because of greed and my hubris. My people have been reduced to a fraction of our population and replanted elsewhere across this vast universe. I have been left alive in the ruined capital of our homeworld to act as a herald. It is my punishment, and a warning for those who find me." The crew of the Fraga looked at each other in concern after hearing the first few sentences from this defeated and sickly being, but decided to press on to see what else Urat had to say. The warning of Urat. Urat's image flickered as the recording continued. "We were a large empire, spanning hundreds of systems," he explained. "We were not alone, however, as there were a number of smaller empires that made up the consortium. We barely bothered to join. The largest members were ourselves, the Wabber, the Trell, the Patyar, and lastly, the humans." At this, the video ended with Urat starting a coughing fit and reaching towards the camera. Surprise swept through the crew. They knew humanity well. Humans were diplomats, aid givers, and trustworthy traders across space. Yet they were surprised to hear them mentioned here. The next video showed Urat looking even worse for wear. His eyes were bloodshot, and purple blood appeared to be leaking from his mouth and ears. My folly was believing that humanity were pacifists, successful only in their abilities to trade and make peace. They didn't even defend their own stations, and instead hired other species for that task. We thought they would be easy. The crew was taken aback by this statement. They knew humans as peaceful and cooperative, but this portrayal suggested a different aspect of humanity they hadn't considered. We were wrong. Urat continued in the next recording. Humanity's strength is not in their military might, but in their resilience and ingenuity. They do not seek war, but when provoked, they are formidable. They adapt, they innovate, and they endure. We learned this too late. Urat's recordings detailed how the Urad Ranish had underestimated humanity. They had launched an attack on human territories, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they were met with fierce resistance and unconventional tactics that turned the tide of battle. The humans used their environment to their advantage, Urat explained. They fought in ways we had never seen before. They used guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run strategies, and psychological warfare. Their ability to think outside the box and adapt to new situations was unparalleled. The recordings revealed that the Urad Ranish had been slowly pushed back, their forces decimated by the relentless human assault. Urat's voice grew weaker with each recording, his regret and despair evident. "I watched as my empire crumbled," he said. "I saw my people fall, one by one. Our technology, our numbers, our power, none of it mattered. The humans were relentless. They fought not just for victory, but for survival. And in the end, they prevailed." The final recording showed Urat barely able to speak. "I am the last of my kind," he whispered. "This planet is our tomb, and I am its guardian. Let this be a warning to all who come after us. Do not underestimate humanity. They are more than they appear. They are survivors, and they will fight to the end." The crew of the Fragga sat in stunned silence as the recordings ended. They had witnessed the downfall of an entire species, brought about by their own arrogance and underestimation of humanity. It was a sobering reminder of the dangers of hubris and the strength of those who fight for their survival. The decision. Captain Leora of the Fragga convened her officers in the ship's conference room. "We have a decision to make," she began. "We can either report this to the Galactic Council and let them decide what to do with this information, or we can take it upon ourselves to investigate further." First Officer Jarek, a seasoned veteran with a reputation for cautious decision-making, spoke first. "Captain, we've already seen the devastation that this planet represents. I believe it would be prudent to report this to the Council and let them handle it. We've done our part by discovering and documenting this tomb world." Science Officer Mira, always eager for new discoveries, disagreed. "I think we should investigate further. There's so much we don't know about what happened here. The technology and knowledge left behind could be invaluable. Besides, we owe it to those who perished here to understand their story fully." Communications Officer Tali, a human, added her perspective. "As a human, it's both humbling and chilling to hear what my ancestors were capable of. I think we need to understand more about this conflict. It could help prevent future misunderstandings and conflicts." After much debate, Captain Leora made her decision. "We will report our findings to the Council, but we will also continue our investigation. This is too important to leave unexplored. We will gather as much information as we can and ensure that this knowledge is preserved and used for the benefit of all." With their course set, the crew of the Fragga began their detailed investigation of the complex. They uncovered more records, detailing the history of the Urad Ranish and their interactions with humanity. They found advanced technology and artifacts, remnants of a once great empire. The more they learned, the more they realized the true extent of humanity's resilience and ingenuity. It wasn't just about their ability to fight. It was about their ability to adapt, innovate, and survive against all odds. This was a story that needed to be told, a lesson that needed to be learned by all who traversed the stars. The legacy of the Urad Ranish. As the crew of the Fragga delved deeper into the history of the Urad Ranish, they discovered a complex and fascinating culture. The Urad Ranish had been a technologically advanced species, with a rich history of exploration, art, and science. They had built an empire that spanned hundreds of systems, with a network of allies and trade partners. But their downfall had come from within. Urad's recordings revealed a society that had grown complacent and arrogant, believing themselves invincible. Their leadership, driven by greed and hubris, had made fatal mistakes that led to their downfall. One of the most poignant discoveries was a series of personal diaries from ordinary citizens of the Urad Ranish. These diaries provided a glimpse into the lives of those who had lived through the conflict with humanity. They spoke of fear, loss, and desperation, but also of hope and resilience. The crew realized that the Urad Ranish were not so different from themselves. They were a species that had made mistakes, but they had also achieved great things. Their story was a reminder of the importance of humility, cooperation, and the need to learn from history. Captain Leora decided to compile all the information they had gathered into a comprehensive report. This report would be sent to the Galactic Council, along with recommendations on how to preserve the legacy of the Urad Ranish and use their story as a lesson for future generations. Humanity's strength. The more the crew learned about humanity's role in the downfall of the Urad Ranish, the more they were amazed by the ingenuity and resilience of humans. The recordings and logs detailed numerous instances where humans had turned the tide of battle through sheer determination and creativity. One particularly striking example was the Battle of Orion's Belt. The Urad Ranish had launched a massive fleet to attack a human colony, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they were met with a series of ingenious traps and ambushes that decimated their forces. Human engineers had repurposed mining equipment and cargo ships into makeshift war machines. They used the asteroid belt to their advantage, hiding and launching surprise attacks on the Urad Ranish fleet. The battle had been a turning point in the conflict, showcasing humanity's ability to adapt and innovate in the face of overwhelming odds. The crew of the Fragga couldn't help but admire the resourcefulness and tenacity of humans. It was a testament to their ability to survive and thrive in even the most challenging circumstances. A message of hope. As the crew continued their investigation, they uncovered a final message from Urad. This message was different from the others. It was not a recording of despair, but a message of hope and reconciliation. "I have seen the worst of what we are capable of," Urad began. "But I have also seen the best. I have seen acts of courage, compassion, and sacrifice. I have seen beings from different worlds come together to help each other, to learn from each other, and to build a better future." Urad spoke of the need for unity and cooperation among the species of the galaxy. He urged those who found his message to learn from the mistakes of the past and to work towards a future where conflicts could be resolved through dialogue and understanding, rather than violence and war. The crew of the Fragga was deeply moved by Urad's words. They realized that this was the true legacy of the Urad Ranish, a message of hope and a call for unity. They decided to honor this legacy by sharing Urad's message with the galaxy. A new beginning. With their mission complete, the crew of the Fragga prepared to leave the Tomb world. They had gathered a wealth of information, artifacts, and records that would be invaluable to the Galactic Council and the scientific community. But more importantly, they had discovered a powerful message of hope and resilience. As they lifted off from the surface of the planet, Captain Leora looked out at the vast expanse of space. "We have a duty to share what we have learned," she said. "We must ensure that the legacy of the Urad Ranish is preserved and that their story serves as a reminder of the strength and resilience of all beings." The crew agreed, and they set a course for the nearest council outpost. They knew that their journey was just beginning, and that they had a responsibility to spread Urad's message and to continue exploring the endless possibilities of the galaxy. The story of the Urad Ranish and their encounter with humanity would live on, a testament to the strength, resilience, and ingenuity of those who dared to dream and to fight for a better future. And as the fragate traveled through the stars, the crew knew that they were part of something greater, a never-ending story of exploration, discovery, and hope.